this was a fight where I actually at one point tried to like step in and like, because it was getting nasty. Then Kyle said something and Sierra was involved and it just got like really heated.
Virtual reality.
All right, Carl Radke from Summer House. Danny and I are so excited to be chatting with you. A new season of Summer House has officially kicked off, and it seems to be going a lot easier for you this time, which is so nice to see.
Yes, thank you guys for having me, of course. But yeah, it's a stark difference than last season. And just where I was right in this moment last year, you know, it'd been some time after the breakup, but then when the show starts airing again, you're kind of reliving everything. But this time around, it's been nice to kind of relive it because I know what happened last summer, and it was much better than the previous summer.
Yeah. You're like, not everyone is as happy to relive it, but Carl is happy to be reliving it.
This was one I was actually looking forward to because I'm single, I'm coming into my own, I've been, you know, healing and moving on, and I think I'm excited for everybody to see me as my own self, and you know, just me for me, and like actually get to know more of myself without being in a relationship.
And it feels like it shows too. Like you just have like an air of like glowing and like peace around you too, which is really great. Like how does that feel for you? Because of course, like being on reality TV for so long, a lot of it can weigh you up and down, but it seems like right now you are just in a great place.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny like how it comes in cycles of ups and downs. I feel very lucky to go through the ups and downs in front of all of you, but you know, I think some time, some healing, some working out, some meditation, therapy. I don't have it all figured out. I think sometimes on the outside it looks better than what's going on inside, but yeah, I mean, I'm launching a new business. I'm generally in a pretty good place. I'm very lucky. So I think you're seeing some of that on the exterior, but you know, I feel like I still have a lot of work to do, and you know, trying to continue to like put one foot in front of the other. So
you came into the house very calm and peaceful, and you gave Lindsay her space, and I think honestly you played that situation like very, very well. But what I was a little upset about, I was really upset with Gabby, the way she was talking about you behind your back, talking about your teeth, your drinks, not bringing anything to the party. I literally was watching the episode right next to Danny, and I was like, this is insane. How did it feel to hear that? Especially because I feel like it could be reflective of maybe the way Lindsay speaks about you in private with her, and then I feel like the way you've spoken about Lindsay since the breakup has been like really respectful.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I want to say about that particular moment. I mean, listen, I've been on Summer House for 9 years, 9 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been coming out there longer than Gabby's been friends with Lindsay. So I know we all say trust me, I've said stupid things. I've said really rude, nasty things about other people. So I think it's more a reflection of Gabby than it is of me. And I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
It's disappointing, but I mean, that's kind of why people love Summer House, is all the talking in the bedroom.
That's very true. By the way, I love the teeth. I want veneers so bad.
Well, I mean, there's more about my teeth that I think people don't really fully understand, and it's something that, for me, since growing up, I've had dental problems. I was hit in the face 2 different times with a hockey stick and a baseball, both by my brother.
This is why you don't do sports.
I had chipped teeth. I've had chipped teeth majority of my life.
Okay.
Honestly, anybody growing up that knew me, I was made fun of for my teeth being chipped and crooked. Just was what it was. I was made fun of for my ears. Here I am as a 40-year-old man, still getting made fun of my teeth and my ears. I'm a lot more confident and comfortable, but I think anybody who's making fun of someone's body parts or appearance, I think it says more about them than it does about me.
And that's so true. And it's been such a year for teeth on Bravo because like, I don't know if you, because like when Jenna Lyons, I don't know if you know about her teeth journey. She's had to have so many like teeth done and just painful and everything. That's why I was like, like. I mean,
dental stuff it's hard. I memean, I didn't get my teeth fixed just because I'm on a reality TV show. The teeth that I was born with had been chipped and had been damaged, and then the roots were resorbing, which means they're dying. So at some point early on in Summer House, back in season 1, I actually was kind of made fun of for having yellow teeth at that time because those were my natural teeth. But that's how they looked. And when you get hit in the face a few times, the teeth naturally can discolor. So being on reality TV, I was kind of given a hard time about having yellow teeth the first season. I worked in dental sales, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
So of course I'm gonna get my teeth fixed in the best way I could. So over the years, I've had some adjustments and I've had to get some modifications made. So what you're looking at right now is literally what the dentist and surgeon have recommended. It's the only option I have for teeth. So if they're too big, I'm sorry, Gabby.
I think they look great.
Also, you're a tall boy. They fit perfectly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's something that I'm trying to like not let it bother me, but I was made fun of a fair amount for my teeth. And even in the last year, there's been a lot of commentary about my teeth, but listen, I'm happy with him.
Yeah, keep smiling.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And I do feel, because I was trying, because Evan got really heated watching that.
No,
And
like,
I was
I
like, you
was
have to come
so
down, because we'll probably have a day where we will see Gabby, and
Yeah.
I don't want to have to like have you guys.
I mean, I think
restrain you.
the part that actually I think is more interesting is she's talking about me not drinking and not being any fun, but literally Lindsay's also not drinking, and so it's just interesting the point. But I actually really love Gabby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she brings a lot to the table, and I'm hoping for more from Gabby, more than her talking about my teeth this season.
Yeah.
So.
Is there more? Do you think there's more?
I think there might be, but
Okay.
you'll
Okay.
have to, a classic thing we say here, you'll have to tune in.
and
Okay.
But that's because I was saying, I think she just, she does something that when you're best friends with someone and there's a breakup, you just start
Yeah,
listing,
you ride for your girl.
You ride for your girl.
Lindsay certainly deserves love and support,
Yeah.
and like I said, I love Gabby, and like I think if we saw each other right now, she'd be like, you know what, I'm sorry, I was kind of fired up. That was back in end of June. There was a lot in that moment, and here we are. It's February, so
Well,
I'm not gonna worry about it too much. But
no,
it's
and also
funny.
because then there's moments where like Paige is like, I love watching Wes squirm. Like, you know, there's a lot of things when you get in the bedroom that you're like, everything gets filmed in the Summer House bedrooms, and I think all of y'all are like, oh shit, I'd rather you just film the hookups and the shit talking, because the shit talking
The
gets
shit
you in a lot
talking.
more
Well,
trouble.
that's what I think makes our show so special and
Yeah.
unique. I mean, sure, every other Bravo show has some elements where people are caught off guard, where you're not thinking you're being recorded. But if you look at a lot of other Bravo shows, a lot of like amazing moments actually transpire from that kind of thing where someone doesn't realize they're actually on. And a lot of that happens in our show when you go back to your bedrooms. You forget you're on. But I love Summer House for that, because you actually see a lot more for who we are. I think sometimes the reality TV people can perform or be a little more inauthentic, but with our show, it's really hard to be fake when the camera's in the corner of your room and you forget it's there. Like, you're seeing us for who we really are.
Yeah, and thank God for those cameras, especially this season, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be paying extra close and special attention to things that maybe Paige says about Craig and texting girls, and like I just feel like everyone's really going to be looking at this season through a different lens.
Yeah.
Now that they're done with, do you look back at this season and identify any red flags? Like, what did you know? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure similar to like how I've watched, Vanderpump
Yeah.
post Scandal. You're watching those first few episodes, and even I'm sure people watching me and Lindsay last summer, and watching all that back and trying to pick up on. I was certainly privy to some of the challenges they had. Obviously, long distance being a major one. Some of the career place, and also where Paige was and where Craig is, like what they wanted in that moment. It's really hard to, be in a relationship in these houses, but my experience over the summer with Craig, for the most part, was pretty positive. I remember vividly him loading the fridge with non-alcoholic beer. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. I was excited to have a buddy. But you could tell that there was some things like behind the surface. And I think, just from my own personal experience, it gets to a point where you have all this noise around you. It's like, when you get married, when you're going to start doing this. And it adds a lot of anxiousness. And I'm sure, Paige, you're going to maybe see. I didn't hear about much, but behind closed doors, I'm sure her and Sierra and Amanda had a lot of opening up about where she was at. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
But listen, it's been a really hard situation for the both of them. I feel equally sorry. I've been closer to Paige. I feel sorry for Craig and the whole situation, but I'm friends with Paige, and that's who I care about.
I know. I wonder if the fans because watching this last episode, I was starting to see. I'm like, what's happening here? When she was looking at and I love Paige, looking at an empty Apple calendar, like, it looks solid. She's like, but I'm like, yeah, you don't want to go for a date to Charleston.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening there? But I do feel like even though they are where they are now, she does ride for that boy in this season of Summer House, because the preview for next week's, where it's one of the favorite things that happened in Bravo was a rage text. And Kyle really
He went there.
He went there with the 7 paragraphs to Paige. It seemingly is about the whole drama with Craig and Loverboy and everything. How do you feel that is going to be playing out now in real time watching it back?
I was just with Kyle, Amanda, Paige, and Sierra this past week for something, and it was like right before all this stuff was kind of brewing again. I feel like Kyle and Paige are going to work through it. I hope, what transpires on the show from this past summer, now it'll be a little less of a intensity, I guess, but there is a lot of history between Kyle, Craig, Loverboy, Paige, Hannah, all of this. It's just, I honestly wish we could just all get in like one room and talk it out and move on.
You're like Mean Girls.
In a way.
Bake a cake.
I don't think some of it really matters anymore, but I think there's been a lot of misinformation, and I think that's where Kyle's rage comes from is, and I have felt like this before too, when some information is not accurate and it's very publicized as being accurate, you're in a really tough position, and I think Kyle's been really frustrated by some of that, because it's Kyle, I know, is a genuine person and doesn't lie or doesn't try to take advantage of people, and I think he, in this situation at times, has felt like that. And then I know with podcasts and other interviews and things that get said, I don't agree with rage texting Paige like that. I didn't know that it happened until we were at that, you'll see in the following week, I think, or the following dinner, there's a pretty big blow up between Paige and Kyle regarding said rage text. Which was we've had a lot of really intense dinners, and this is up there.
Like worse than Sierra versus Danielle?
Probably not that level.
Okay.
There's no drink throwing.
Okay.
But this was a fight where I actually at one point tried to step in and because it was getting nasty. Then Kyle said something and Sierra was involved, and it just got really heated.
Now
you were
that
wearing Celine during that. 'Cause I
oh,
wanted to-
right, yeah, no, Celine.
I was wearing another shirt that I didn't take the tag off.
I love that people caught that though. Honestly,
I know, that's why-
was that just a mistake or did you return it?
No, I kept it.
Okay.
It was a mistake that I just forgot to rip it off.
Okay.
Fun fact for a lot of the guys in the show, like Jesse and Kyle and West, you find a brand you really like and you buy 4 different colors of the same thing. And that was one of the linen shirts that I wear. I have green, yellow, blue, and I just was looking for something real quick and threw it on. But I had a whole row of the same company.
I know. I'm stressed so much you guys like Tombolo because I like them, and
Love
I feel like
Tombolo.
now people are gonna learn about them more, and I'm scared.
I've been rocking Tombolo since season 4.
You have, yes.
Big
They're
Tombolo.
great,
They're great.
and they're always in the Hamptons. Yes, I love.
Back to Kyle versus Paige. Do you think that now Paige is no longer affiliated with Craig? She can sort of look back on this situation with Kyle and watch it back with maybe a little bit of a giggle? She's
Yeah.
not so pressed because she's no longer with Craig.
I think so.
Okay.
I haven't caught up with Paige directly about this topic,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think there's Kyle and Lindsay have been brother sister. I think Paige and Kyle are similar in that regard. There's a lot of love there. There has been some awkwardness because of Kyle's behavior and then the friendship that Amanda and Paige have together, which has created some challenges. I don't know. I think Paige now not being with Craig gives Kyle and Paige an opportunity to hopefully clear the air and move on, because trying to be graceful here. Because as someone who's made a lot of mistakes and done a lot of stupid things, I think Paige has done a lot to really help Craig, and I think really has helped him become a better version of himself. And I think a lot of that has been lost in some of this. And early on when Paige and Craig were together, there was a lot of drama because of Paige and Craig, but Paige protected him for what the truth was. And a lot of us took a lot of heat, but for telling the truth.
And now it seems like we're kind of in the middle of a Bravo civil war
I know,
between
people
Southern
are saying
Charm and
the Avengers versus the X-Men or whatever.
What do you make of this rivalry, I guess, between the two casts now, and how each one is defending their own special player in this fight?
It's like it's a good old rivalry, I feel like, in the Bravo world, in the best way. Let's be honest, Craig, I've known Austin, Shep, and Craig since season 1 or 2 of our show. So it's almost 9 years. They came to our house back in season 4 for a party. Craig's first visit, he hooked up with Jules. He wasn't even with Paige at that time. There was so we have a long history here. So I'm surprised there hasn't been other civil war prior to this.
True. Okay, yeah.
Because there's been always things, but I love everybody down in Charleston. I think, we have different types of people. We have different types of style. The audience that watches our shows are a little different, perhaps. But I think it'll be.
And I guess because
no one really did it. People broke up and defend each other, and it's like.
I mean, where it's things. I'm just let it's better to happen now than they have to get a divorce and lawyers get involved.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
It'd be interesting if we put both of us in one room together. Now we're talking.
Ooh, now you're talking a spin-off.
Just give me one big circular dinner table.
Have you touched base with any of the Southern Charm guys since this whole situation?
I've actually texted with Shep.
Okay.
So I've been, out of anybody from Southern Charm, I've known Shep the longest. I actually met Shep before I was ever on Bravo.
Oh.
I was at a party with some friends in New York City, 10, 11 years ago, and he had some mutual friends of mine, and I remember meeting Shep, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? He's like, lot of personality.
Yeah.
And we ended up like talking, but a year later, I was now on Bravo at that point, and I reached out to him, and I was like, hey buddy, you remember me from that party? I'm now on Bravo. So I've known Shep a while. I've also just checked in on him. I know he shared a lot about some of his ups and downs.
Yeah.
I relate to a lot of that. But he wrote me the other day, because we have another mutual friend, and he said, how about this war between the two of our shows? And I said, honestly, I could have predicted this, but I think it'll smooth over.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what Jules thinks about it all.
I know, right? I know. I forgot about Miss Jules.
Yeah,
I know.
like-
and I keep in touch with her. I know
Really?
me and
I
her.
love her.
I know
She-
how I handled that. I've talked a lot about. I'm still really upset and disappointed with how I handled some of that. We have cleared the air many times, even right after that reunion, right after that summer.
Yeah.
I still check in with her, and I still occasionally I'm still really sorry with how I treated you, because I still care. But she's moved on in her life, and she's doing a lot of wellness, and she does yoga and all sorts of really cool, mindful stuff. I follow her and keep in touch that way. But yeah, that was a name that we haven't heard.
I know, and I'm like, oh my God, Jules is the catalyst of the crap. I'm like, so
No,
Paige, you copied her, or she copied your nails. You copied her man. No.
Yeah, it was just more I think people forget the history of when Craig and Austin and Shep
Yeah.
first came to the Summer House. It was Kyle's birthday back in season 4.
Wait, and you were touching on how you were kind of in your single boy era, of course, and dating around. Do we get to see, because I think the trailer did, unfortunately for you, but fortunately for us, show an awkward flirting moment you had. Is there more awkward flirting moments? Are you just getting back in?
I'm awkward all around. So I think I'm cringy and awkward, but I think if you're not trying, you're not doing it right.
I love that.
Or if you're not cringy, you're not doing it right. You will see some more flirtation that I'm putting myself out there. I'm trying to meet someone and have some fun. One of my first forays into doing so kind of goes a different direction. But I think you'll see over the summer, I have a couple things that I'm just exploring, but in a more mature, healthier way. I'm find myself to be a little bit of a slower burn, trying to really get to know someone, trying to really understand them. And you'll learn more. I mean, I shared embarrassingly and cringily that I had not been with anyone since Lindsay, and it took me some time, but this summer I did have some fun. So
Was it awkward at all to be doing this in the vicinity of Lindsay being in the house, or did you not care? What was that like?
I cared.
Okay.
I care way too much what other people think always, but I also didn't want to be someone to overtly throw it in her face in some way, or it's similar to probably how West I think was around Sierra in some way. I'm not trying to bring some girl back to make some scene. If we actually come back and it's organic and natural, maybe that's normal. But to me, it was take it easy. Don't try to be overly, don't be a dickhead,
And it's probably good because Sierra teased that the new guy was enough of a distraction, bringing home he had his own bachelor, I guess.
I mean,
this
sounds bad, but I smiled slightly because it's been some time before we've had someone who brings girls back and is really putting himself out there. And for us as the guys, it was kind of refreshing to see how I used to be back in my day in some ways. But listen, I think it's amazing to have Imrul join us. I think you'll learn more about who he is, and I've always appreciated people that join us that have an interesting story or an interesting background. And I think you'll learn more about him, and I think understand more about kind of how he's come to be. But we're still good friends. I keep in touch with him. I mean, he was in Miami doing some Burning Man thing. He has a lot of fun, and he does cool shit. So
Okay, I'm excited to see more of him.
I think he brings some good stuff to the house, to the show. It'll be interesting how to see the audience react.
Okay.
excited for that.
Now, before we wrap up, Carl, I am curious.
Yes.
You were accused of never praying, or not. When you said you wanted to keep Lindsay in her prayers, she was like, "I've never seen him pray. What is he talking about?" What is your
That's southern
response?
accent for
She's from Georgia, right? Isn't she?
Florida.
Florida. Yeah. I feel like in her mind she said it in that southern accent. What was your reaction?
I mean,
that?
I've meditated for the last 4.5 years.
Okay, yeah.
And meditation also for me, I say the Lord's Prayer, and I also say the Serenity Prayer, which is the same thing you say in meetings. So, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy God will be done. That's a prayer. And that's what I do every morning, and that's how I stay sober. I also add on to that, and I think of other people in my life, whether it's good, bad, negative, whatever, and you offer grace and offer prayer to them. I've been doing that while we were together. Now, I didn't have her in the room with me, sitting next to me while I meditated and did those. She wasn't with me ever in any Al-Anon or AA meetings. So, yeah, I'm not sure how she would know I was praying or not, but I do offer that to her because for me, that's how I reduce any anger or resentment about any past. She's happier and moved on. That's all I care about is her being happy, and she is, and that's all that matters.
And now you can keep us in your prayers.
Yes.
Yeah, I pray for everybody that also I think needs and deserves it.
Okay, we need and deserve.
And also, we need
I'm
you to
praying
open
for you for sure.
the soft bar too, because that's supposed to launch this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been hard at work with my new business, Soft Bar, and we are opening a location in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Deep breath, it's been a lot of work.
Okay, yes, it's happening now.
Yeah, like an actual location, an actual spot. You can come and sit down any time of day, morning, afternoon, or evening, and have an amazing either premium coffee, mushroom coffee, not psychedelic. There are healthy mushrooms out there that people take every day like vitamins. And then also non-alcoholic drinks, non-alcoholic beer and wine, Loverboy non-alcoholic.
Okay.
And then the space we have is a beautiful industrial space in Brooklyn. So it's not your typical bar or cafe. This is actually a cool experience, a place you'd want to come with friends, good music, good programming, and some light food and snacks. So
Okay, well,
there.
we both don't drink, so we'll be
the goal
stopping
is
by.
trying to be open before the summer starts.
Okay.
So June, don't quote me.
Okay.
But I'm trying to be
We're-
open
okay.
for June or July.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
It's happening.
And maybe we can get the Summer House cameras there next summer too.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
love that.
sick.
All right, are you still craving a little more tea? Evan, tell them where to go.
Make sure to like and subscribe to Page 6 YouTube to check out all of our exclusive virtual reality interviews and more.